Title: aitah for refusing to apologize for exposing my dad and is a fair partner to their bosses. The first text I sent that morning felt like fire in my hands. I didn't hesitate. I didn't think. I just hit send and watched the world explode. I suppose most people would have called me crazy, but after everything I'd discovered, I couldn't sit silently anymore. It started 6 months ago. My dad, who I'd always thought of as an untouchable moral compass in my life, started acting weird. Late nights at work, long phone calls in the bathroom, suspicious emails that disappeared the second I walked into the room. My mother, bless her heart, noticed too, but she chalked it up to stress. I didn't. One night, I was helping him organize some files for work when I stumbled across a folder on his laptop, labeled HR Confidential. Inside were emails, not about his work, but about her, a woman in his department, married to someone he also knew. I won't use names here, but it's enough to say she wasn't just a co-worker. She was a married woman, and he was involved with her. I confronted him the next morning. He laughed, not nervously, not embarrassed, just laughed. Don't be ridiculous. It's complicated and you don't understand adult relationships. But I did understand. I understood betrayal. I understood the kind of pain you cause when you break someone's trust deliberately. And I understood that no one else would know unless I told them. I tried talking to my mom. Carefully. I didn't accuse, didn't shout. I just asked quietly, "Have you noticed anything unusual between Dad and anyone at work?" She blinked, looked at me like I had grown another head, and said, "Why are you asking such things? You're imagining it." That was the final straw. I made a plan. Not revenge. Not for money or attention. I wanted transparency. Accountability. I sent emails to his bosses and her boss, including everything I'd found, the correspondence, dates, times, even copies of some of their messages. I made it factual. Impersonal, just a record of behavior that was absolutely inappropriate in a professional setting. Then I texted my dad, "Check your inbox." He called me immediately. "What the hell did you do?" I told the people in charge what's been going on. I said calmly, "You can't have it both ways. You can't lie to your wife, your colleagues, and me." He yelled, screamed, actually. He called me a traitor, a manipulative child. He said I had no right. He told me I'd ruined his career and humiliated everyone involved. I told him, "You ruined your marriage, your reputation, and every trust I ever had in you." I just made the facts visible. Since then, nothing has been simple. The affair exploded. The woman's husband confronted her, her boss confronted her, and my dad's HR file is now under review. Both of them are being scrutinized professionally and personally. My mom is devastated. She hasn't spoken to him in days. And me? I haven't apologized. Everyone says I should. My friends, some extended family, even random acquaintances. "You're your father's daughter, you have to forgive," they say. It's family. I don't know if I can. Because I can't forgive betrayal disguised as love, deception disguised as humor, trust disguised as privilege. I did the right thing, morally and ethically. But people hate me for it. They say I overstepped, that I should have kept it private, that I tore a family apart. But here's the truth. My family was already torn. I just exposed it. Now, my dad won't look me in the eye. He leaves the room when I enter. My mom refuses to talk to him, and honestly, I can't blame her. I still live with the guilt, though. Not for telling the truth, but for knowing how much it hurt everyone, including myself. Because exposing the truth never comes without collateral damage. People ask me, "Aren't you sorry?" I don't even know what to say. I'm not sorry I revealed the affair. I'm sorry it hurt my mother. I'm sorry it destroyed the family I thought I had. But if being sorry means apologizing to the people who betrayed me, I can't. I won't. So, Reddit, aitah for refusing to apologize for exposing my dad and is a fair partner to their bosses. Maybe to some, maybe even to them. But I can't apologize for honesty. Part 2, the aftermath. The morning after I sent the emails, the house felt hollow. I didn't hear my dad moving around. I didn't hear my mom in the kitchen. I only heard the soft hum of my own thoughts, and for once, I didn't want to drown them out with anything. I thought I was prepared for the fallout, but I wasn't. It started slowly. My mom didn't speak for the first 2 days. She moved through the house like a shadow, making meals silently, never meeting my eyes. Once, I saw her standing in front of the family photo wall, touching the frame of a picture of me and my dad from when I was a child. Her lips quivered, but she didn't cry, not yet. And my dad, he was furious, not just at me, at the world. at himself, at anyone who would even glance at him sideways. He barely slept. He drank too much coffee. He muttered under his breath constantly, pacing like a caged animal. When he finally confronted me, I had to brace myself. "Do you know what you've done?" he said, his voice shaking. "You've ruined everything. Me, your mother, my career." I exposed the truth, I said evenly. "You were lying to everyone. You've been lying for months. I just made it visible." "Visible?" he barked. "You humiliated me. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." "You embarrassed yourself," I said. "I didn't create this. You did." He slammed the door and didn't speak to me for hours. Then came the texts, endless texts. My mom to me, my friends calling for advice, distant relatives trying to mediate. Even her co-workers reaching out. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted me to apologize. "You don't understand family," my aunt said. "It's your father, you have to forgive him," said my friend Mara. "Think about your mom, you've torn her world apart," said another cousin. They weren't wrong. The world had shifted. My mother was heartbroken. My dad's career was in jeopardy. His reputation was damaged. But I didn't do it to hurt anyone. I did it because someone had to stop the cycle of lies. Because I couldn't stand silently while they deceived my mother and manipulated everyone around them. The affair partner, she confronted me a week later. Her tone was icy, detached. "Why did you do this?" she demanded. "Why expose me?" "Because you and my father were hurting everyone around you," I said. "You didn't get to hide behind a title or a job or your marriage. You made choices and now they're visible." She laughed, a cold sound that gave me chills. "You think you're righteous? You think you're a hero?" "No," I said. "I think you're accountable. That's all." Things escalated at work. We reviewed my dad's files. His affair partner was suspended temporarily. Gossip spread. Some people sided with him, some with her. A few even thanked me anonymously. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt exhausted. I felt morally responsible. Because even when you do the right thing, it doesn't feel right when the cost is this high. At home, the tension was unbearable. I slept in my room with the door locked. My mom barely looked at me. She was polite but distant, like she was protecting herself from another blow. Then came the confrontation with my dad, the one that almost broke me. "Do you hate me?" he asked, sitting across from me at the kitchen table, eyes rimmed with exhaustion. "Do you want me gone?" "I don't hate you," I said. "I hate what you did. And I don't want you gone. I just want honesty. That's all I've ever wanted." He didn't answer, just stared at the table, shaking his head, muttering about betrayal and consequences. Weeks passed. My mom and dad barely spoke. The household felt like a war zone frozen in time. I watched my family crumble. I watched the people I loved most wrestle with lies they hadn't even known were lies, until I forced the light on them. And yet, I don't regret it. Because if I had stayed silent, if I had chosen comfort over truth, nothing would have changed. The lies would have continued. The manipulation would have continued. My mother would have continued to live in ignorance while they laughed behind closed doors. I did what I thought was right, even when it hurt everyone I cared about. Now, months later, things are quieter. The affair partner has left the company. My dad is in therapy and trying to repair what's left of his marriage. My mom is healing slowly, cautiously. And me? I've learned that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel clean. It doesn't feel like justice. Sometimes it feels like betrayal. Because the people you betray most aren't the liars. They're the ones you love. So, Reddit, aitah for refusing to apologize for exposing my dad and his affair partner to their bosses. Maybe to some, maybe even to them. But I can't apologize for the truth. I can only live with it and try to make sure I never let silence protect someone else's lies again. Part 3. Fractured foundations. The weeks after the exposure felt like living in a war zone. Every glance, every word, every silence carried weight. I didn't just witness the fallout, I became a central figure in it, whether I wanted to or not. My dad didn't leave the house. He didn't have to. The tension in every room was enough to make it feel like a ghost had taken over. Every step he made sounded deliberate, measured, almost accusing. I would catch him staring at me when he thought I wasn't looking. Sometimes it was anger, sometimes shame, sometimes something I couldn't name. My mom, meanwhile, oscillated between icy detachment and quiet devastation. She barely ate. She spent hours in the garden or sitting by the window, staring into nothing. When she spoke to me, it was polite, careful, almost surgical. Her words were stripped of emotion, but her eyes gave everything away. Hurt, disappointment, betrayal. and the faintest flicker of admiration. "I don't know if I can forgive him," she said one evening, voice trembling. "And I don't know if I can forgive you either." I didn't answer. What could I say? That I was sorry the truth hurt her, that I didn't regret exposing the affair, that I hated myself for hurting her even as I tried to protect her. At work, the consequences were harsher than I anticipated. We reviewed every email, every record. My dad was suspended without pay for a month. His affair partner was put on probation and transferred to a different department. Gossip spread like wildfire. Friends and colleagues took sides. Some congratulated me discreetly. Some condemned me openly. Even strangers online debated whether I was justified. Reddit, Facebook, anonymous forums. I had become, unintentionally, the personification of moral judgment. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a verdict. "You're your father's daughter," one post read. "You should forgive him no matter what." "You overstepped," said another. "This isn't your place to judge or expose." I didn't respond to any of them. I couldn't. They didn't understand that morality isn't always convenient. That sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. That accountability doesn't come with gratitude. The family dinners stopped. At first, my mom tried to maintain routine, setting the table with care. But my dad refused to sit down. He ate in the study, alone, doors closed. My mom ate in silence, my plate untouched. I ate quietly as well, trying not to make the house feel smaller than it already was. The tension was suffocating. Every laugh, every casual remark felt like a minefield. Every smile a potential lie. And then came the confrontation I had dreaded but secretly hoped for. My dad and I, alone, face to face. "Do you hate me?" he asked. Voice low, controlled, like a man measuring every syllable. "Do you want me gone?" I met his gaze. My own reflection stared back at me from the window behind him, a younger version of myself, naive, trusting, blind. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "I hate what you did. And I don't want you gone. I just want honesty. That's all I've ever wanted." He shook his head, muttering about betrayal, consequences, ruin. "You don't understand adult relationships. You're too young to judge." "No," I said. "You were too selfish to understand consequences. That's the difference." He didn't respond. He never did. Months passed. The household slowly settled into a fragile rhythm. My mom began speaking again, but carefully. She asked about my day, my work, my life. But never about him, never about the affair, never about the chaos that had erupted. I respected it. Sometimes silence is the only protection left. My dad began attending therapy sessions. I don't know what he told his therapist, but he changed slowly. Less pacing, fewer harsh words, fewer moments of icy accusation. He became quieter, more reserved, more human. Less the untouchable moral authority he had once been. More just someone trying to survive the consequences of his own actions. And me? I became hyper-aware of my own moral compass. I couldn't escape the lessons of those months. Truth has a cost. Exposing lies hurts everyone, including yourself. Accountability is not gratitude. Silence protects the guilty, but speaking exposes the innocent to pain as well. I learned to navigate life more carefully, to weigh consequences before action, to understand the human capacity for both deception and self-delusion. But some nights, I lie awake and replay the emails, the messages, the confrontation. I imagine the moment my dad first realized I had sent them. I imagine the fear in his eyes, the panic, the collapse of control. I feel a strange mix of regret and validation, because what I did wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about power. It was about clarity, and clarity is never painless. So, Reddit, aitah for refusing to apologize for exposing my dad and his affair partner. The answer depends on perspective. To some, I'm cruel, heartless, manipulative. To others, I'm righteous, brave, uncompromising. To me, I'm just someone who refused to be complicit in lies. And maybe that's all anyone can really do.